I have played through Suikoden 1 countless times, and every time I play, I try to mix it up by using a different party so the game feels fresh. I'm going to be ranking the characters based on how much I personally like their character, and that's going to be determined by a mixture of everything. Their design, their story, their background, and not necessarily how good they are in combat, but how fun they are in combat. Just overall how much I like the character. So even if I hate them, even if I hate their personality, if I like their role in the story, that will be factored into my decision on them. As this is the first game in the series, I'll be judging the characters based solely on their appearance, actions, and lore in Suikoden 1 only, and I won't be factoring in their appearances, story, or designs from any of the other games. I'll try and edit in some gameplay footage of characters if I have a lot to say about them, so you're not sitting there staring at this boring image all video long. I'm sure my list will be good argument fuel for the comments, so why don't we start off hot with an absolute legendary character and one of my favourite characters of all time, Krin. I am going to put Krin right into the S tier. Krin is a dirtbag. Garbage in combat, garbage in war, garbage personality, and just an all-round garbage human being. He is scum to his core. People hate on him for all of those reasons, but they don't appreciate his character. He's meant to be all of those things. He's a low-life thief. When you find him at the beginning of the game, he's robbing a house. Later, when you meet him for a second time, he talks you into committing a crime, and then he sells you out before trying to drug you to get the reward money. He even has a secret scene at the end of the game. If you bring him to the second floor of the inn in Lenin Camp, he gets confronted by someone he robbed before, and then he leaves your party and runs off. He joins you for the sole purpose of robbing you and the palace treasury. He played the long con and he played it to perfection. People hate him because he's useless in combat, he's a horrible person, and he's not a pretty boy. I guarantee you, if Krin looked like Flik, but still had the same story and personality, he'd have a large I Can Fix Him fanbase. He's straight up ass in every way. Incredible character. S tier. Now for the tricky part. Looking at the list, it seems to be alphabetical. So do I go through the list? Well, not entirely alphabetical. The 108 stars are listed alphabetically. Then you have all of the rest of them up at the top there. So do I go through the list in order as they are? Do I go through alphabetically, or do I just start picking at random? You know what? I'll go for another controversial pick. And I'm going to pick Pesmerga. And I'm going to put Pesmerga in... This is going to be controversial for sure. I'm going to put Pesmerga in the D tier. Yes, he's an absolute beast in combat, but that's where his appeal ends for me. The whole mysterious, badass Black Knight vibe is lame. He has zero personality, and I couldn't care less about his story. I feel like I'm going to go into a rant about Pesmerga here, but I'll save that for the upcoming Pesmerga and Yuber video. And since Pesmerga and Yuber are a package deal, I guess I'll rank Yuber as well. Where's Yuber? Here he is. I'll put Yuber in the C tier. Slightly above Pesmerga because unlike Pesmerga, at least Yuber has some moments in the game where his personality shows. Next, who will we go next? Marco. We'll go Marco. I always thought Marco was an old woman. I know what you're thinking. How could you think Marco is a woman with a name like Marco? But look at him. He looks like an old lady. For years, I thought he was an old woman with a mistranslated name. So imagine my surprise when I found out Marco was an 11 to 13 year old boy during the events of Suikoden 1. But the cup minigame is fun, and it's an easy way for early game money cheesing. So shout out to Marco for funding the early game. I'll put Marco in the C tier. Next, you know what? Let's do another controversial pick. Neclord. I always hated Neclord in Suikoden 1. He's generic. He's lame. He's just a generic, lame, evil vampire. This is the only portion of Suikoden 1 that I don't like, and every time I play the game, I always put either Stallion or someone with a holy rune into my party so I can dash through it in half the time. Neclord sucks. He's a terrible character. Garbage. Next, let's see. I'll do the pirates. Angie, Kanak, and Leonardo. Not really much to say about them, to be honest. They're alright. They're decent characters. They've got a cool little scene in the Sega Saturn port of the game where they kidnap one of the women you recruited and you have to fight them to rescue her before you can recruit them. You know, they're alright. I'll put them in the C tier. Angie, Leonardo, Kanak. Next. Who do we have next? Looking through the list. I want to mix it up by doing it random, because I know if I do it in alphabetical order, people won't care once I get to Victor. They'll skim through just to get to the characters they like. But I also don't want to do all the good characters at the start, because then people won't care, because the lesser characters will be at the end. So I'll try and mix it up with good characters, average characters, bad characters, and kind of mix and match throughout. So we'll go Gremio. We'll go Gremio. He's a tough one to rank. I hated him when I was a kid, because he was always forced into your party. He sucks in combat, and he spends the whole time fussing over you, and as a child that annoys you to no end. But the older you get, I think the more you appreciate his character, and the more I like him. Still, he does suck in combat, and despite liking him more now than I did as a kid, he still annoys me because he's forced into your party and taking up a valuable party slot for a large portion of the game. So I'll go C or B. I'll go B tier for Gremio. I think that's fair. B tier is fair. Next up, we'll do Esmeralda. Useless. Utterly useless. Complete waste of a character slot. I don't want to put her in the garbage tier because I don't hate her. But I don't want to put her in D tier either, because at least Pesmerga has some usefulness, and putting Esmeralda with him wouldn't be fair on Pesmerga. Let's make an E tier. That's what we'll do. Add row above. We'll have to change that to blue. And then we'll change this to green. And then we change the name to E. Right, and then we will put Esmeralda in the E tier. I think that's fair. She is a garbage. Well, she's not garbage. She's a useless character. Waste of a character slot. Next. There's so many characters. This video is going to go on forever. Let's go with the blacksmiths. I'll put all the blacksmiths together. 5 characters essentially playing the same role, and that always annoyed me. Most of them felt like wasted character slots and filler. Mass, where is he? Mass, this guy right here, and Mies. I'll put them in the D tier. Then you have Mose, is it? Moose and Mace. Where's Moose? I'll put Moose in the D tier as well, and I'll put Mace in the D tier. But Mose I'll put in put him in C. I think Mose is better than the others. He actually has some usefulness in the story. You know what? I'll put Mose in B tier. He built the fire spears. He pulled Ronny Bell. Dude's got game. And after the war, he helped rebuild Gregminster, while Mace retired and the rest of them went back to focusing on weapons. So you gotta respect that. With the exception of Mose, the others just aren't really interesting. You know, they're okay in combat, but story-wise, they just don't really have anything going for them. Their roles could have been cut down to either just Mose by himself or Mose plus Mace. The other three just feel pointless, but at least they serve some purpose. Now, let's get some quickfires out of the way. Some quick and easy characters that I don't really have anything to say about. And there's quite a few of those actually. So there's one that comes to mind I'm looking for on the list. Oh no. Annoying, useless character. All she does is gossip, and I hate gossip. Garbage. I despise her character. Next up, looking for, I know it's alphabetical, but my I'll get jumbled looking at so many characters on screen. Jabba. No, not Jabba. Why am I looking at Sans? Yeah, Jabba. Where's Jabba? Jabba, where are you? Am I blind? Oh, here he is. Jabba. Right. Jabba, useless. Never cared for him. Annoying to recruit. And I never really used his shop. So, E tier. Let's get rid of him. And I had my mouse over Sansuke a moment ago. So, you know what? Sansuke, we'll put him in C tier as well. He's not great in combat. In fact, he sucks in combat, but the bats are cool and I like the bat feature. Who next? Who next? Zen and Blackman, the two gardeners. Let's go with the two gardeners. So Blackman, I like him. He's just a farmer, but he's trying to rejuvenate the land. You know, you can't really fault him on that. After all the horrors of war, after Calico was destroyed, he's just trying to heal the land, restore the land to life. He sees the beauty in life, which is why he's planting all the crops and flowers and plants. He's decent in combat. You know, he's got great HP growth, so if you need a tank, throw him in the front row. I like him. He's a simple character, but he's a great character. I'm going to put him in B tier. Zen, on the other hand, he doesn't really have the same appeal as Blackman. He's just a gardener trying to grow pretty flowers and a pretty garden. Can't really fault him on that. Nothing wrong with him. I'll put him in C tier. And now I'm noticing the top of the list is looking kind of empty and barren. So I'm going to do a few of my favorites. I'm going to try and fill out the S and A tier just a little bit. I'll put like 2 or 3 up there to plug in some gaps. Who do I love? Lorelei. She's just a reskinned Odessa, but I love her design. Always been fond of archers in the game. She's been one of my favorites since my very first playthrough. I'm going to put her in the S tier. I love Lorelei. Next up, another character I love. I love Morgan. He's another character I'm quite fond of. Sure, he's just a reskinned Pahn, but he's a blind martial artist who kicks ass. I am going to put him in the A tier. You know, he claims he was born blind, but you see a scar on his face going across from eye to eye. His eyes were very clearly cut out. I said I wouldn't go into other games, and I won't, but he's a great character. A tier. I love Morgan. Next, let's see. Who's another character I love? Another character would be Ain Gide. Ain Gide. He is a fantastic character. How can you not love him? He allows you to pass through Quaba Fortress, despite you being wanted for treason, just out of loyalty to his friend Teo. But he stays loyal to Barbarossa and fights to the death in honor of the man Barbarossa once was. He is an all-round decent guy, and I would put him in the A tier. Right. I don't think I've had a controversial pick in a while, so should we get your blood boiling again? Right. One that's definitely going to have people's blood boiling for sure is Jean. I don't really like Jean in Suikoden 1. She's nothing special. She's a hot rune mistress who runs a shop. Big deal. Not a whole lot to her in Suikoden 1. Another controversial pick, I think, would be Flik. A bit of a love-hate relationship with Flik in Suikoden 1. He spends the first half of the game being an impulsive, immature brat, but he matures a lot in the second half of the game. And in terms of combat, he's an above-average fighter and an above-average mage, so I'm going to put Flik... Ooh. I'm going to put Flik in the C tier. I know that's going to be a bit controversial, but I don't really like Flik in Suikoden 1. Next, another controversial pick, I'm sure, for a lot of people. Clive. He's a popular character. I just don't care for him in Suikoden 1. His only real story in the game is an optional and hidden scene in Rockland at the end of the game, where you interact with a grave. I don't like him, I never cared for him, he is going in the E tier. Next. I'll do the ninjas next. I'll try and get groups out of the way where I can to cut down on time, because I have a feeling this is going to be like a half-hour video or something. Hanzo, Fuma, Kasumi, and Kage. The whole ninja thing isn't really something I care about. They're all going into the E tier. Actually, I'll put Hanzo in the D tier. He's more likable than Kage and Fuma, but Fuma and Kage are going into the E tier for sure. Kasumi, where are you? You know, when you're sitting there staring at so many icons, even though you know it's alphabetical, it just messes with your head and you can't find them. Suikoden has too many characters. So Kasumi, I rate her higher than I do the other ninjas. I am going to put her up in the B tier. Like I said, I don't really care for the whole ninja thing. It's not my vibe, but Kasumi is a good character. She's way better than the others. She gets some moments to shine in the game. We get to see her personality. She's good in combat, so I'm gonna put Kasumi in the B tier. Next, let's see. Who do we go with? I'll go with Aiki, or AK, however you pronounce his name. I'm not really sure. I don't really like him or dislike him. He's just kind of there. He exists. But in the Sega Saturn version, he does have a little Battle Arena Coliseum minigame, which is cool. So I'll put him in the C tier. Now, the C and D tier are kind of filling up a little bit. Do I go for a few more on top, a few more on bottom? I'll go for a few more on the top first, I think. Who else do I love? I'll go with Lot. Quite fond of Lot. She loves cats. That alone is enough to put her into the A tier. You know, I like her design. She's a solid mage. I think in the Sega Saturn version, she has a funny scene where if she's the one kidnapped by pirates, she'll offer to join them if they help her rescue her cat or find her cat. I quite like Lot. So she's definitely going in the A tier. Another character I really enjoy is Kreutz. A tier again. I really like his backstory and his motivations for joining. I think it really brings his character together and gives a lot of backstory to the game. He was Gale Rugner's greatest general, and he fought against Barbarossa in the War of Succession, which is a story I'd really like to make a video on at some point. So I'm putting him in the A tier instead of the S tier, because despite him hating Barbarossa, his sole purpose for joining you is that he wants to kill Barbarossa, although they have no dialogue together during the final confrontation, and that always annoyed me. It felt anticlimactic, like his story was unfinished and the final confrontation was missing some big impactful moment to bring a close to his story. So for that, he's going in A instead of S. Who next? Well, since I was talking about Barbarossa, let's do Barbarossa. He's kind of absent throughout the game. He allowed Windy to pretty much destroy everything he fought for. He allowed the deaths and suffering of thousands. He allowed his empire to crumble from corruption. All because he was a love-struck puppy. You know, he just lost interest in everything, but he's got a real cool backstory with the War of Succession. He was a broken shell of a man by the events of Suikoden 1. I'll put him in the A tier. I think he's a solid character. Next, I think I should go summon for the S tier maybe. Who's an S tier character for me? I mean, there are going to be a couple of obvious choices for S tier, I think, but I'll go Cleo. Cleo in the S tier. She's loyal, faithful, sticks by you through thick and thin. Good design, great all-rounder in combat. I mean, what's not to love? Cleo is the definition of ride or die. She's 100% S tier. And if I'm doing Cleo and I've already done Gremio, I may as well do Pahn next. Pahn has a great story. He's ordered by Teo to look after you. Then he betrays you out of fear of what might happen to Teo. Later he saves Eileen and asks for forgiveness before fully redeeming himself by risking his life by standing up to Teo to protect you. You know, he's got a great story. He's got great character development. His story has it all, and to top it off, he's got a great design and he's great in combat. So I don't know. A, S. Oh, no, I wouldn't put him in S because despite all of that, his betrayal still irks me. So I'm going to put him in A tier. I'm not even halfway through the list. And this video has been going on for 20 something minutes. This is... I thought this was going to be a quick and easy 10-15 minute video. Then I thought it was going to be like a half-hour video, and looking at it now, I think this could be nearly an hour-long video. This is a bit much, so let's try and blast through a few characters. Right, Black. Not even really sure why he's on the list, but I'll put him in C tier. He's a cool dragon. Chief of Dwarves, D tier. Bit of an arrogant dick, but he comes through in the end. Who else do I hate? Or not really hate, but who else do I not have much to say about? I think I'm spending more time looking for someone that... Right, Clan. I don't really have anything to say about Clan. Useless character. All he really does is welcome people to towns. Garbage. Rock. I don't really have much to say about Rock. He's your storage guy. What would we do without his infinite storage space? Rock up into B tier. I think Gen and Kamendal, I don't really have much to say about them either. I'm going to put them in C tier. They suck in combat, but they've got some fun banter. So Kamendal and Gen, you guys can go into C tier. And now I can't find Gen on the list because I'm blind. There he is. Ladon. I don't like Gadon. Ledon. Don't like him. Where are you? I hate him. He looks like he's the type of guy who'd cop a feel after he's done drugging you and robbing you. So I'm gonna put him in. I'm gonna put him in E tier. He's kind of scum. Other characters I don't really have anything to say about are Antonio and Lester. I don't particularly care about either character, to be honest. I don't know where I'd rank them, but they don't really have much story other than they fought over Marie, and they're kind of useless in combat, so I'm gonna put them in the D tier. Which I suppose brings me to Marie, since they fought over... where do I put Marie? I don't know. Where do I put Marie? She's got your back at the start of the game. You know, she gives you a place to hide out when you're on the run, but then when you get your own castle and you recruit her, anytime you try to sleep at your own castle, she charges you money to sleep at your own castle. And I didn't know that at first. That took me years of playing the game to finally figure out she actually charges you to sleep at your own castle. But you know what? She had your back at the start. She risked everything to look out for you. I'm going to put her in C tier. Other characters I don't really have much to say about would be, I suppose, Window, and by extension, Melody. Where's Melody? There's Melody. The Melody and Window, I mean, cool. They offer sound settings and dialogue box changes. I think I used them once or twice in all of my playthroughs, but I've stuck with the defaults ever since. They offer nice features, but I don't really find them all that useful or particularly care about them. I'm going to put them in C tier just for the features they add, because, you know, they're all right. It was cool the first once or twice I used them, but aside from that, don't really care. Another character I don't really have much to say about, Cassius. I suppose since I'm doing window settings, sound settings, I may as well do the music. Don't really care much for Cassius. Just like Marco, I always thought Cassius was a woman for the longest time when I was a child. He looks feminine, and Old Book Volume 5 calls him a woman that's in love with Milk. Turns out Cassius is actually a man, and that book is a mistranslation. He does let you listen to some of the in-game music though, so if you just want to chill out and listen to some of the music throughout the game, I'm going to put Cassius in C tier. Right. We've trimmed down the list quite a bit there. So do I want to keep blasting through some characters? You know what? I will. I'll keep blasting through some more. So Joppo, whatever, he's alright. He's a bit of a dick to Meg. E tier. I don't really like Joppo. And speaking of Meg, where are you, Meg? I like Meg. She's fun. I'll put her in the C tier. Right. There we go. I didn't realize I could mix and match by moving characters around there, but Fukian is another character I don't really care for. Where would I put him though? I mean, he's just another character that kind of exists. He's a monk, joins around the Neclord point, but I never really bring him even for the Neclord fight. I brought him once. I thought he would have been a lot better than he was. I used him once at the Neclord part, used him for the rest of the playthrough. Didn't really care all that much for him, truthfully. I'm going to put him in the C tier. He just kind of exists. He's there. Hugo. I'll go Hugo next because why not? We're from the same temple. I like the library. I'm putting him in the C tier. I like the library. He gives us access to more lore, which is always welcome. Another character I don't really have much to say about would be, I suppose, Kessler. You know, he's alright. Don't really have one thing to say about him or another. I'll throw him in C tier, whatever. Who next? Who next? I think I'll go Zorak. Right, and Zorak. Not really much to say about him. He's Tangar's dad. He seems like a good guy, but he sure does yap your ears off. I mean, he's a solid character. I'm going to put him in B tier. He's a bit annoying, but like I said, good guy. Really looks out for Hicks. And may as well do Hicks and Tangar next. Well, I'll say he really looks out for Tix. He seems to be aware of Hicks and Tangar's relationship and seems to approve of it. So he does seem to have a soft spot for Hicks, so he looks out for him a bit. I'll do, Tangar and Hicks next. So Hicks, where are you, Hicks? Love both of their characters. Their stories, their personalities are great. I think Tangar edges him out on combat usefulness thanks to her magical prowess. So I'm going to go B tier for Hicks, but A tier for Tangar. Next I'll do... Who next? I don't know. There's so many to choose from. It's like looking at the list. I mean, it's kind of balancing out. I feel like the C tier is really building up. You know, I'll go with another character I like. I really like Mina, so I'm going to put Mina in the B tier. I like her design, but she's not so great in combat, but I do really like her fighting style. She has a really fun scene in the Sega Saturn version where if she's one of the characters kidnapped by pirates, she'll dance for them, which I thought was funny. One thing I'd like to point out about Mina is I think it's really creepy. Like, really creepy how a lot of grown men at the inn are gathering for the sole purpose of watching a 13, 14-year-old girl dance on stage. Kind of creepy, just saying, but Mina's character is awesome. She's great. Right, let's get through some more quick characters I don't have much to say about, like Chandler and Chapman. I mean, item and equipment store odors, they're alright. Nothing really negative to say about them. They serve their purpose. I'm going to put them both in the C tier. I'm just trying to get through some of these characters as fast as possible because there's still so many characters left and this video has been over a half hour long already. So other characters I don't care about. Kimberly, don't care about her, but she annoys Flik, which is her only saving grace. I'm going to put her in the D tier. Tesla, same thing, don't really care about him. I think he's a bit of a whiny bitch, but he fulfills his role, so I'm going to put him in the D tier. Other quick characters would be Sergey. What would we do without his elevator? Let's be real. The Suikoden 1 castle without the elevator takes forever to go up and down the stairs because of all of the loading screens. So I'm going to put Sergey in the B tier. Love his elevator. Sucks in combat, but that elevator is a godsend. Right, other quick characters. Ivanov. Where's Ivanov? This guy, the painter dude with the ugly mustache. Nothing to say really. Paints a picture of the cover art. I don't have any fondness of him. I don't dislike him. He just kind of exists. Once you've done the painting once, you'll never do it again. I'm going to put him in D tier. Other quick characters would be... I can see a few characters I could zip through here that I don't care for, but Gaspar, my man. Everybody's favorite gambler. Like, this man single-handedly funded all of our war efforts. Get right up there into the S tier. I may as well finish off the minigame, guys. Georges, if that's how you pronounce it. He doesn't really have anything going for him. Don't like him, don't dislike him. I like his card game though, so I'm going to put him in the C tier. Sorry, if the audio is kind of cutting off a little bit, it's because I started lying back in my chair away from the microphone, so hopefully it didn't fade out too much. Other quick characters. I think Sarah. I'm going to put Sarah in the E tier. I never took a shine to her. I hate her recruitment. Like, her recruitment scene, I suppose, is a fetch quest. She's useless in combat. She serves no real purpose in the game. E tier, just because I don't dislike her, so she's not going into garbage, but she's just a waste of a character slot. Taggart would be next. I'm going to put him in D tier. I have no real love or fondness for him, but I also don't dislike anything about him. And if I'm doing Taggart, I may as well do Warren. What's not to like about Warren? Wealthy landowner with a reputation for being kind and generous, who was arrested and imprisoned for harboring fugitives and rebels. He's decent in combat. He's an all-around good guy. I'm going to put Warren in B tier. And looking at it, it seems I'm about 2/3 of the way through the list. And there's still some heavy hitters left in the list, so this video could drag on for quite a bit longer. So what do you say we start the final third of the video with some more controversial picks? Let's really get your blood boiling. And who would get your blood boiling more than Praise, Kanan, and Grady? But before I rank them, hear me out. I don't like them, but I appreciate their roles. They're scum, they're corrupt, they're rotten to the core, they represent everything that is wrong with the Empire. Without witnessing their corruption firsthand, without witnessing the corruption of Praise, Kanan, and Grady, you wouldn't hate the Empire as much as you do throughout the game. Like, they play their roles perfectly, and I'm going to put Grady and Kanan in the C tier. So C, and where is Grady? This dude here. I'm going to put you in the C tier, but Craze, I'm going to put him in the B tier. His scene in Kuan with Eileen really shows what a truly disgusting person he is. They set the tone and make you want to overthrow the Empire. Like I said, without those three characters showing you just how dirty, rotten, and corrupt the Empire is, you wouldn't hate the Empire as much as you do. You wouldn't be as invested in wanting to overthrow the Empire as you are. So as much as I hate their characters, I really appreciate their role in the story. And that's why I've ranked them so mid to high. And next I'll do an S tier. No, I won't do an S tier. I'll save some of the S tiers for a bit later. But I will do a character I like, and that is Vincent, or Vincent if you prefer. I'm going to put him in the A tier. I love his character. I always had a soft spot for him, you know, skipping out on his meal before claiming to be broke because he was helping war orphans and children. He foisted the bill on us. As a kid, I always wondered if he was telling the truth about being a noble or if he was just playing a big con. I love his character. A tier. I still see a few characters on the list that I don't really have much to say about, so should we blast through a few more? Do a few more quick fires? I'm gonna go Giovanni. Garbage. Hate him. Never liked him. Another one would be Gon. I'm going to put him in the D tier. Yeah, just an all-around useless character, but I don't dislike him. Another one. Kanto. I don't really care about him. He has some usefulness. He does give us some boats, but I'm going to put him in the D tier. Never cared for him. Him giving us boats is about the extent of his existence. Vargas and Sidonia, I think I'm going to put in C tier. They're alright. You know, I don't really dislike them. They're okay, but they're nothing special. I don't really have anything to say about either of them. So C tier it is for them. Templeton. Simple character, the map is great. B tier. Who else? Someone quick and easy would be, I suppose, Taiho. Yeah, Taiho and I guess Yamko along with him. Fun characters. I think Yamku is a total cock blocker. I'll go C? B? No, I'll go B tier. I'll go B tier. They're great characters, decent in combat, fun scenes, fun dialogue. I'll go B tier for Taiho and Yamko. Who next? Someone quick and easy would be... Well, there's still a few left there. Yeah. Joshua. Great character, great backstory. Don't really want to get into too much of the backstory because partially related to the War of Succession and I want to do a video on that, so great character, I'll put him in B tier. This one might be a bit controversial. Apple. I am going to put Apple in the D tier. I always found her to be annoying in Suikoden 1. I just don't like her in Suikoden 1. Another quick one, I suppose, Kuromimi. I'm going to put him in the B tier. I like his character, I like his story, but he's useless in combat. And now this one might be a bit controversial. Luke. I'm thinking Luke. He's an annoying brat in Suikoden 1. Amazing in combat, but he's a little shit. So it kind of balances out. And for that, I'm going to put him in the C tier. Next up. Who's someone I like? Someone I like or dislike, because the top and the bottom are not as balanced as the middle of the pack. So I'm going to go Griffith. I'm going to put Griffith in the S tier. No, A tier. A tier. He genuinely cares about his men. Seems like a good guy. He's straight up ass in combat, but I found him to be a very likable character. So, solid A tier. Can't really complain. Another A tier, I think, would be Hellion. She's one of the best mages in the game, and the Blinking Mirror is a godsend. There's a bit of mystery to her. She seems familiar with the Soul Eater. She takes over as seer for the Tauren Republic after Leknot leaves, and that has always fascinated me about her character. I want to know more about her, so I'm putting her in the S tier. Next. Sancho, E tier, don't care. Who else? Oh, we're trimming it down. We're getting there. We're getting there. Kirk. Never liked Kirk, actually, when I first played the game, or my first few playthroughs, I mean more like the first 10 years of playing the game. I never really liked, used, or cared about Kirk. But over the last, I suppose, 5 or 6 years, in the last 5 or 6 playthroughs, he's really grown on me. He's an executioner who seemed miserable in his life, in a really dark place because of the nature of his job, like really down and depressed. But McDohl comes along and gives him a new lease for life, and he ends up living a peaceful life as a farmer. You know, McDohl really turned his life around, gave him a new love for life. He's really grown on me. I'm going to put him in the B tier. He's got nice character development. Who else? I'm looking at the list. Quincy. I'm gonna go Quincy. And I'm gonna put Quincy in the C tier. He's a pretty damn good long-range character. He's got one of the best dexterity stats in the game, or one of the highest dexterity stats in the game, but you know, he doesn't really have a whole lot going on for him personality or story-wise. He dislikes the Empire because of what they've done to his hunting grounds, but too much of a coward to join you to do anything about it until your army got big and he thought it looked like victory was a sure thing. I always used to think Quincy was a girl when I was a kid. Don't know why. I just kind of got female vibe from Quincy. Turns out Quincy is a guy. Yeah, S and Garbage are not really... S and Garbage aren't really filled out. Characters I love or hate? Let's see. Fusiliu. Fusiliu is a character I really like. Now, always loved his character. When I was a kid, I actually thought he was some kind of half tiger, half human beast. I loved his appearance, love him in combat. He deals insane damage, even though his accuracy is trash. I'm gonna put him... I'm gonna put him in the A tier. I think the only thing really holding him back from S tier is his lack of story. He doesn't seem to care about the war. He's just on some personal mission for growth to get stronger. It's just a generic backstory. If he had a bit more story to him, I think I'd put him in S, but he's going in A. I think I could do Alan and Grenseal would be a package deal, so I can get rid of them in a 2-for-1. Sorry, my throat is getting all dried out because it's been nearly 50 minutes of non-stop talking. So let me take a sip of water. What can I put them? I don't really know about these two, to be honest. I never had any strong attachment to either of them. I'm just trying to think, like, where can I put them? Yeah, they're decent in combat, you know, but you know, I always liked Grenseal more than Alan. I think I'm going to put Alan in the C tier, but I'm going to put Grenseal in the B tier. Like I said, I always liked Grenseal more than Alan. Because Grenseal he's calm, composed, while Alan is more of a hothead. They're both more loyal to Teo than they are the Empire, and the only reason they joined you is because Teo ordered it. But, you know, decent enough characters. C and B tier is fine for them. Let's get McDohl out of the way. We'll put him in S tier, obviously. What's there to say? What's there to not love? Great character. Who next? I'm looking at Windy and Leknot. But I'm thinking, do I save them for a bit later? Or do I just put them in now? You know what? I'll put them in. Windy, I'm going to put her in A tier. What a bitch. Just despicable. You can sympathize with her backstory, her whole clan being wiped out by Harmonia, then, you know, her getting lost in the rage of wanting revenge. And she just falls deeper and deeper into that hole, and then she starts to hate the world. It's humanizing. It could happen to anyone. I despise her, but she's a good villain with a sympathetic backstory, so A tier. And along with Windy, I mean, you gotta put Leknot right up there next to her. In the same clan as Windy, but Leknot is the opposite of her in just about every way. No anger, no rage, no thirst for revenge or hatred. Just mysterious, powerful, and let's be honest, hot as fuck. So, yeah, A tier for Leknot and Windy. Still a chunk to get through, so are there any characters I can lumped together to try and blast through because I would really prefer this video to be under an hour. The Elves. The Elves. So Kirkus, Stallion, Sylvina, and Ruby. Always liked them. Love them all, especially Kirkus's story. I'm going to put them all in B tier, except for Kirkus, who I'm going to put in the A tier. So Kirkus in A tier, Ruby in B, Sylvina in B, Stallion in B. Some other quick characters we can do. Kai. I'm going to put him in the B tier. I mean, he's McDohl's bow staff instructor and mentor. What's not to like? I think I can kind of blast through 3 others here with Eileen, Lepant, and Sheena. So, Eileen, let's see, she's Lepant's wife. She's alright. She's a pretty good mage. Doesn't really have much of a story. I'm putting her in C tier. Lepant, where are you, Lepant? I'm going to put Lepant in the B tier. He's straight up ass in combat. Well, I think he's ass in combat. I think he's terrible in combat. Other people might disagree. But he's a good guy overall. You know, he provided school supplies to Matthew for his school, for all of the kids. Like, he may have disagreed with the Empire and he did want to help, the way he kind of politely and gently let you down when you asked him to join you. The reason he's going in B instead of higher is because he was willing to allow the Empire's corruption and cruelty to slide until it personally affected his family. And for that, he goes into the B tier because he's shown to be kind of selfish. Which brings me to Sheena. Let's be honest, his combat ability aside, he is an annoying little shit in Suikoden 1. So Sheena is going into the D tier. Some other quick characters. I like Camille, so I'm going to put Camille up in A tier. Hot, bossy redhead. Sign me up. You know, A tier. What's not to love? Another quick one, Victor. S tier. How can you not put Victor in S tier? Everyone knows that's where he belongs. Some other quick characters. I'm going to go Vicky, A tier. I think Suikoden 1 Vicky exists just to teleport us around. I like her, I love her usefulness, but she doesn't really have a whole lot of story or anything else going for her in Suikoden 1. Other quick characters, Futch. I'm going to put him in B tier. He's an annoying little shit at the beginning of the game, but he's just a little kid. You know, he's got a sad story and he plays an important role. He really grows on you as the game goes on, so he's going in the B tier. And if I'm ranking Futch, I may as well rank Milia. I'm going to put Milia in the B tier as well. She's decent in battle. She's calm, composed, collected. She doesn't lose her cool, and I suppose that's why Joshua chose her as the future leader of the Dragon Knights. Who else? Yeah, the bottom and the top could do with a few, but I think I'll go Humphrey. Humphrey into the S tier. I love Humphrey. I love his backstory. I don't want to get into it too much, as I'd like to make a video again on the War of Succession and the events surrounding it at some point, but Humphrey is awesome. I always loved his character. So he is in the S tier. Not many to go, and it's starting to look like this video might be over an hour long. So who else can we get out of the way quickly? I could do the generals, so let's go Sonya. She's bossy, she's bitchy, and a badass. I'd call her mommy. A tier. The other generals, let's go Kwanda. Kwanda... Ooh, this is a tough one. You really have to feel for Kwanda. I mean, he basically committed genocide while under the control of Windy's Conqueror rune. You have to wonder, like, what does that do to someone mentally going forward? Yet he remained strong and agreed to fight alongside you to root out the corruption in the Empire. You know, I think he's got a really great backstory and a very sympathetic story. I'm leaning towards S tier because the story surrounding his character is so good. But the only... no, I'm going to go A tier, because the only thing keeping him out of S tier is that I don't like his fighting style. And that's the only thing keeping him out of S tier. And with that, I guess I'll do Milik. I don't like him. Yeah, he was controlled by Wendy's Conqueror rune, and you can forgive what he'd done. I just don't like him. See-through body suits, creepy mustache, garish sense of fashion, E tier. Just no thank you. Next, Kazim Hazel, who does not appear to be on the list. Did I already put him in by mistake? Let me just look through the list here. Did I accidentally put Kazim on the list? I did not. So it appears Kazim Hazel is not on the list. I'll rank him anyway. I'd put him in the B tier. He wasn't under the effects of Wendy's Conqueror rune, and he ordered some soldiers to bring Matthew back into the fold. And those soldiers threatened to throw children into the Banner mines and be put to work. Now, maybe those soldiers came up with that part of the plan themselves. I don't know. But that's pretty scummy. He is an amazing swordsman. He's a fantastic frontliner. He's loyal and brave as hell. He leapt to Barbarossa's defense instantly when Windy was berating him. So I'm mixed on Kasim. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Is it Kasim? Is it Kazim? Is it Kasim? I don't know, but I'd put him in the B tier. Alright, let's try and get through some. Valyria, you are going into the S tier. What is not to love about her? She stood and betrayed, or she stood up to and betrayed the Empire to save the elves and the surrounding villages and the forest. And to top it off, she's a badass and she's sexy as hell. So, not many to go now. Maximillion is a character I love. I'm going to put him into the S tier. How can you not love Maximillion? He's chivalrous, honorable. He rose up against the Empire after finding out about their corruption. He's a true knight who stood up for justice. You gotta love the Maximillion Knights. Not many to go, and this video is definitely over an hour long. Oh boy. Ronny Bell. I'm going to put her in the A tier. Step on me, please and thank you. Who do we have left? Who do we have left? We have Odessa, Ted, Teo, Sanchez, Crowley, Leon, Lucan, and Matthew. I probably should have done Teo earlier. I'm going to put him in the A tier. He's a fantastic character. Love his backstory. He's loyal to a fault, though. He's not loyal to the Emperor or to the Empire. He's loyal to Barbarossa. And he's blindly loyal to Barbarossa. He knew Craze was corrupt. He let it slide. Teo could have done so much to root out the corruption in the Empire, but he didn't care. He slaughtered the village of the ninjas, Rokaku village. He was sent north to protect the border, but it seems like while he was there, he tried to subjugate Rokaku village and the ninjas and burnt their village to the ground. And it's a great general, but also seems like a bit of a dick. Blindly loyal. I'd put him in A tier. Who else do we have? Crowley, badass reclusive mage, cool backstory. I'm going to put him in the A tier. Lucan. I'm going to put Lucan in the B tier. I mean, what's to say about him? He's a doctor, he's a recluse, he He helped us defeat Milik by creating an antidote for the poison. He saved the dragons. I mean, he's a doctor. He's a decent guy. What's not to like? B tier for him. Now we're down to the final 5. And there's a couple of controversial hot takes still to come. I'll do Odessa here. I'm going to put Odessa in the S tier. Love her. Adore her. Wonderful character with a great story and a sad ending. So S tier, absolutely no question about it. And I'm kind of noticing sorry, like I said talking non-stop, my throat is all drying out. Needed some water. I am noticing here all of the red-headed women are either in the S or A tier. I swear I don't have a type. Alright, last four. Ted, Sanchez, Leon, and Matthew. I'll put Leon in the A tier. I love him and hate him. Amazing strategist, cool backstory, but an absolutely disgusting piece of trash. I'll save that for the War of Succession video, but A tier for Leon. Matthew, I'm going to put Matthew in the A tier as well. He's a great strategist, probably one of the best in the entire series. His strategies did seem to lack long-term planning though. He pretty much gave up the Senan region to the city-states, which meant the Tauren Republic had to go to war right from its foundation and instantly soured relations with their neighbours. I'll put him in the S tier. Now we have the final 2. And controversial hot takes coming up perhaps, but I'm going to put Sanchez. Okay, well first let me say I like him. More to say, I like the role that he plays, and I like his story as opposed to actually liking him as a character. He's a traitor and a spy loyal to the Empire. I mean, he's responsible for Odessa's death, Matthew's death, and who knows how many other unnamed rebels. Yes, I hate him. We all hate him, but he plays his role perfectly. He's a great character, and I'm going to put him up in the A tier. And now, I might take some flack on this one, but Ted, final character. He's annoying. I don't like him. I never did. I mean, why is a 300-year-old guy beefing with a 10-year-old Futch? I respect the pettiness, but I never cared for his character. He's got a very sympathetic backstory and you do feel bad for him. He's had a tragic, lonely life, but his character just never clicked with me. For some reason, his character just never clicked with me. I don't care for him at all in Suikoden 1. So I'm going to put him in the D tier. And this isn't Ted's fault, but what kind of idiots name their village the Village of the Hidden Rune and openly refer to it as such to travelers and tell the travelers that you're hiding a secret treasure when the purpose of the village is hiding a true rune? Absolute stupidity. Anyway, that's my list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with my list? Who are your favorites? Who would you put in the S tier? Who would you put in the garbage tier? Let me know. Tell me what you hate about my list, because I'm sure it's going to spark some debate. I did think this was going to be a quick and easy 10-minute video. I thought I was just going to be doing a quick and easy, oh, this character D tier, this character S tier. I didn't think I was going to go into little blurbs and rants about each character. I thought it would be a quick, like 10-15 minute video, but here we are, over an hour long. I do want to make ranking videos for each game's cast, but if they're going to be over an hour long each, man, I don't know about that. Maybe for future games I'll just make them a lot quicker and I'll just, you know, quickly pop them into ranks and only talk about my favorites. or my least favorites, and keep the mid tiers just zip, 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 your CCC, your BBB, and only talk about the SAs and E's and garbage, maybe. I don't know. I have started writing the Pesmerga and Yuber video, by the way. So that's the next theory video that will be uploaded. And as I said in the demo battle mode video I uploaded the other day, when I started writing it, I wrote a page and then I realized the whole page was just me ranting about how dumb I think Pesmerga is as a character, which is going to stay in the video, I've decided. But my personal dislike of Pesmerga aside, I'm not going to let that interfere with the theories themselves. So I'm going to discuss all the theories as normal, all the character information as normal, but at the end of the video, I think I'm going to go into a bit of a rant about how dumb I think Pesmerga is. And I'll leave it at that. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think of my list in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all on the next video.